Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Tom Stewart here. I have Liz Trotter, Matt Ricketts, and our special guest today is Sara Thompson, and this is Smart Business Moves. Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hola.
Woo. My goodness. It's
All right.
Wednesday. We're in August. This is Leadership Month. And Sara, very much appreciate you making a kind of a rare appearance. You are one of the rock stars. You're one of the rock stars in the industry. Truly, you are from a performance standpoint. But you kind of pick and choose your moments to speak to the general public. And you know, I'm excited and honored that you are spending a little time with us today. You have an important story that I think will be useful to a ton of people.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good place to start, Sara. Like, you know, how did your business start? What kind of got you into this? I think that's
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about that. So I was a stay-at-home mom. I was homeschooling my daughter, Hannah, who was in 7th grade at the time, got a divorce, and needed to make money. So that the house cleaning tech the house cleaner we had, I just said, hey, I see what you're doing. I think I can do it. If you ever get busy, why don't you give me any extra jobs? If somebody calls you, just give me extra jobs, pass them on to me. And she said no, as she should have, but I was terribly offended by this. And so I said, okay, then I'm going to be your competition and I'm going to start cleaning. And I emailed all the people at the country club and I said, my husband's a jerk. I need a job. And that's how I got my first clients. So
yeah. So that's the story a lot of people have.
2006.
Okay.
And then 2008, I went back and finished my degree at Iowa State, and I needed somebody to take care of the houses while I had classes. So that's how I had my first people clean homes, and then realized I could do this as a real job.
So went from basically cleaning homes yourself, and tell us where you are today. What's your business, model? What's your revenue run rate? Where are you at today?
Okay, so right away or pretty quickly, I was solo because that's how I started, and I followed Debbie Sardone's stuff kind of to a T at the very beginning. So I've remained solo. We have 2 locations that are 35 minutes apart. We have 40 technicians in one location, 20 in the other, so 60 full-time equivalents. And we're at 3 million. We will be at 3 million at the end of this year, and our run rate's a little higher than that, probably 3.5 right now.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. 3.5, that's impressive. So one location alone is 2 million. The other one's like 1.5 or like, wow.
Well, so we will end this year right at our 2 million. We're slightly above goal for our Ames location, and then 1 million or slightly above for the Ankeny location.
Well, that the numbers themselves are impressive. I don't care where you are, but what makes it really, really impressive is where you are. Where are your branches located?
So I started in Ames, Iowa. It's the university town, Iowa State University, and it's a population of 60,000 residents. That includes the students at Iowa State. So we've got about 30-some thousand students. So really the population that I consider my target would be about 30,000 residents in Ames.
And you've got 40 full-time cleaning professionals serving a total market that's maybe 30,000 households.
Yeah. We do about.
Are those households or is that population?
Population, I
think.
think.
Population.
So the households are probably half of that?
Yeah.
Maybe even a third of that? 10, 15,000 homes?
And I think the key there, I mean, we clean about 6% of our revenue total would be sororities. So we do some of that, but just about 6%. And then it's too small, as my understanding at the time. We have no franchises that take up, that live in Ames. So the closest franchise, Molly Maids or Mary Maids, has to drive from Ankeny or Des Moines. So about 30-40 minutes into Ames. So really we were able to dominate and there wasn't another professional cleaning service who kind of came out with brochures and, logoed and looking professional. And so we just dominated.
You look up dominate in the dictionary and it'll have like pH clean there. I mean, that
Yeah.
redefines what dominate means.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm
Crazy.
very competitive too. So that,
Yeah. I'm in a market that's like 300 times bigger, and still, like, that's just amazing. So, I mean, like, put it in perspective, there's like 1.2 million people that I could probably service within, 20 miles of my location. And you're doing that with 30,000 people that are like your market. Obviously, it's affluent. It's a college town. That's part of it. But anything else that kind of sticks out as to why you're able to dominate at that level? Like, I mean, obviously competitive, you said.
I mean,
crushed all the bugs.
We have had people kind of come and go, but I think I've always kind of gotten grief from cleaning business friends for being a little office heavy, but I like to argue that being office heavy has allowed us to kind of stay up on things, really maintain our quality. Our customer service is really great. So it's cleaning, but it's also how are we treating our clients and making those relationships and having time to make those relationships. So I think
argue that your structure is good if you're planning on growing to double your size, which seems to be like what your goal is. I think you have a really good structure for aggressive growth. That's for sure. Is that kind of in the cards? What's next?
Well, we opened Ankeny 6 years ago because I anticipated hitting a ceiling in Ames. I just thought there's no way we can grow much more. And I think we had a year where we had a 6% growth or something, which I considered really low. And so opened Ankeny because it's a really fast growing suburb right outside of the Des Moines metro area. It's a super fast growing town. But Ames has continued to grow. I mean, we've raised our rates as well, but we've continued to grow. And then, we added 10% commercial and so that's helped our growth as well. But as far as continuing that, Ankeny is really our focus. Ankeny could be at 2 million easily and possibly 3 because it can go into the metro. So that's where we kind of want to focus without rocking the boat.
Des Moines being the next biggest city.
Yeah.
But another thing is, Sarah, how long has Ankeny been open?
6 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that most people would consider that a really short amount of time too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the success of that is really because I call Ames our core. It's like our home office because we have our marketing person there, we have our bookkeeping and payroll. So it's really helped Ankeny grow faster.
Yeah.
Did Ankeny start off like as a positive experience, or were there moments when you maybe were thinking that, well, gee, the second branch thing maybe isn't such a great idea after all?
It was challenging as far as making money. It didn't make any money the first year, kind of made up the difference the second year, and by the third year we were making money. And Ames carried that as they got their feet under them. And it's been a struggle with consistency and maintaining consistency between two offices for us, because that's really important to us. We have the same policy manuals, the same training, the same verbiage and all of that. That's been a struggle, finding the right manager and growing there, because we know what we're doing in Ames.
So finding the right manager, that kind of falls under this whole leadership thing. So, you say that, so it sounds like maybe you experienced what it's like not to find the right manager before actually. Tell us that story.
Well, I like to promote from within when possible. We started our second office with our scheduler from our first office, put her in there, and we realized that was a bigger jump than she was ready for. And then that was a sudden, she left suddenly after we went to Las Vegas conference together. So that was awesome. And then
We hear that so often, right?
know.
You take the manager to convention and then bam, they're gone.
they're out. But and then we had somebody else in who was steady Eddie and safe, but not growth minded at all. She wanted to keep everything kind of within her own, control. And I just needed to wake myself up and make myself work harder and address that situation. So when we let her go, we pulled in a bigger office team. So really, again, we got a few more people in that office to work, and they were working together as a team versus just having one person kind of have control of that. It's been slightly painful. We have an office team there now that is wonderful, and we actually have one of the top people in that office starting out as a technician with us. So, I mean, that's my favorite story because I think our office staff in the past has shown leadership and mentored her, and we've allowed her to go from technician to a trainer. She was then QA, and then she was a scheduler, and we've just promoted her to a staff supervisor. Get a little practice with write-ups and how to deal with staff and things like that, and she'll be a manager soon. So that
is cool. I love that. That's inspiring for a lot of people too.
Yeah.
Sarah, one of the things that you said was that when you had this other manager that just steady Eddie who just wanted to keep everything the same, you said you had to like kick yourself in the tush and work a little harder and do some stuff. What did you mean by work a little harder?
Well, what I meant is I had gotten fairly comfortable with the amount of hours that I spent in an office, and my core office was busy enough. So taking out that manager and getting, hiring and finding the right person meant that I had to sit myself down in that office, in that desk, and I had support. I didn't have to answer the phone and do a sales call, but I just had to be there. And I had to get over the hump of not wanting to be there and being a little too comfortable. So that was all me.
Yeah.
Like most things are, if you're the leader, it's all your fault. So.
And ideally, it is all your fault because that's the place you have control, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so much easier if it's my fault than somebody else's.
That is a hard concept to get used to, though. I mean,
Yeah.
once you figure it out, it's obvious.
Yeah.
But it's like, you don't understand. My situation is different. It's the the employees, it's the customers, it's the economy, it's COVID.
It's COVID.
It's always something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, everything is my fault. And so if there's a problem, it's usually because I haven't addressed it, or I haven't required somebody else to address it. So I got that lesson.
So one of the things you really got out front and like to work through all of this. I mean, Ames didn't have any government orders and shutdowns, and really COVID took a while longer to hit Iowa, and not really as hard at some points. Were there any like leadership lessons you learned during COVID that will carry through moving forward?
Yeah. I was in that office almost every day while that was happening, and I felt communication was really, really important. So I'm sure other people did this as well, but if I wasn't having a meeting, initially we're having meetings with the team, I was making videos like, here's what we know, here's what we think will happen, here's our protocol right now. And then just blasting that video out from me, and just really talking honestly and as openly as we could. So we talked ahead of time about layoffs. We talked ahead of time about how we would structure that, when we would try to bring people back. We talked about our PPP loan. we just laid it all out there. And I think that was really important. We brought everyone back. We laid off about 14 people, 14 staff member technicians, and we had everybody back by, I think, 6 weeks.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
that's
never,
awesome.
we never closed.
Really awesome.
And then, like in communication, we were communicating to them as well. You know, they were still part of our family. We weren't forgetting about them, and we just did that as much as possible.
I'm kind of curious back to your second office.
Mhm.
Ankeny, is that the name of the town?
Yeah, Ankeny.
When you came to the realization that you were going to have to stop being as comfortable as you were, what were the actual steps you took? Did you started recruiting for another manager, and did
Yeah.
you just find, how hard was it to find the right person? Did you find the wrong person a time or two before finding the right person?
We're
How did that whole process go?
Yeah, we're still working on that. So I really love the process that we have now for hiring in the office staff. We do, so I do that hiring myself. And I just got in there, and yes, I was taking applications and doing, I asked people to write me something, because they're going to do sales. They write me something, then I phone interview them, and then I bring them in for a group interview, not just with me, but with everyone in the office. And then I bring them back for a second interview with everyone in the office. And I hadn't done that previously, but I really do like that group consensus. I'll make the ultimate decision, but they have to work together. So I like hiring in that manner for those types of positions. And I had somebody in there for a year, took her to a conference in San Diego. No, wait. Yes. No, maybe in Charleston? No. Where'd we go? It was a QBS.
Somewhere.
Brought her, and she did leave, but it wasn't as soon after that. And then found another person who we thought would be a pretty good fit. And she didn't make it more than 6 months. And no, it's not smooth. But what I love about our team is that we can pull people in and out, and we can backfill that. So nobody's missing a beat. We're rearranging tasks until we get that person in, that head
It's
person.
not all like that either.
So
You've got some steady eddies too that have been with you for a long time, but you're always evaluating talent and deepening your bench if somebody comes along. So
Yeah.
Your team is participating in the process of hiring their boss, in essence, right?
Yep.
So how does that go when they hire that person? I imagine they figure out before you do that it's not going to work. Do they? I mean, how does that whole process go?
When somebody's new, I'm checking in with the team, and usually they're hesitating and giving feedback. But when I ask for feedback, they tactfully give me pretty good feedback. And in one case, we had a really, really great manager. It just wasn't her. It wasn't her passion. And then the last manager we had, she just couldn't quite get the hang of all of the activity. So our staff was able to give me good feedback. That's not why the managers exited, but it was helpful in knowing is it us, is it the person. They know the drill, so they can kind of tell if somebody's just not getting it, versus if it's something that we're doing wrong or we've got it organized incorrectly.
Do you ever have anybody on your staff that ask the question, how come you're not giving me the job? Or do they happily accept the fact that you're being somebody from the outside that arguably doesn't know what's going on as well as they do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we did have kind of happen with the gal that we have in now that was a technician moving into trainer scheduler. We would have considered her, and she knew it, and she kind of wanted the job, but she was taking maternity leave, and she was going to be on for a full 12 months. So we had to decide, can we function without her? And she wasn't, we didn't quite know if she'd come back. So we had to make a decision to put somebody in that place. But when that person didn't work out after 6 months, yeah, she was all ready to raise her hand and say, let's go. In fact, the three people in that office, I raised everybody up one position, and they were all like, we want it, we can do it, let's go.
Okay.
Sarah, one of the things that you were when you were talking about the different positions, you made it sound like they always leave. I didn't hear you talk about having to relieve anybody of their duties. Is that by design or
No, the one I was complacent with for too long, we asked her to leave.
Oh, okay. So
the other two left on their own. One, it was a life change, and she wasn't into it, and that's fine. And the other just knew. She just knew. We all knew.
it's like, yeah. Sometimes it's easier to leave when you know you can't do the job.
Yeah.
I think that's part of leadership too. Sometimes, like, you have enough coaching with them, they know the writing's on the wall, and it's not the right fit. So is that an ongoing process? You're coaching them, you're sharing feedback, and they're fully aware they're not meeting your standards. Is that kind of how you?
Yeah. And it's, we're always changing and evolving. And so our Daniel, some of you know Daniel, he's now he was our Ames manager, and now we decided to put him over Ames and Ankeny. And so we're always kind of shifting the structure and making sure people know who's your boss, who do you talk to. I had somebody ask me, how am I doing? How am I doing? Are you going to come in and check on me? And I said, well, you should talk to Daniel, talk to your boss, because he will tell you how you're doing. And so we do try to make sure people know who to go to, who to ask questions to, and who to get feedback from, and then how to get feedback. So I told her, okay, why don't you tell me, and what's going right, what are you struggling with, and what do you think you're doing okay? So trying to give them language for assessing themselves.
I guess, Liz, we could probably speak a little bit from firsthand experience about how hard it is to stand up, satellite offices, especially getting leadership. You mentioned Daniel. He works in your Ames office, which is kind of like your home office.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think there's some advantage in developing your leadership team, your office staff? You spend more time, I assume, in your Ames office.
I do. I spend every Monday there.
Okay. The entire day, or
from about 10 to 4, for sure. That's like a for sure time. But yeah, so we want to bring people to conferences. I want to bring somebody at every conference now. We're just planning on bringing 2 people, because I want them to stay invested. I want them to learn something and get excited and have an ownership mentality. And I think everyone I have there has an ownership mentality in the office.
Okay, I really love this about you, Sarah. So I think that most business owners, if they had the experience of taking a manager twice to convention,
Mm-hmm.
and that manager leaving, their thinking would be, I'm never doing that again. Actually, I know at least 2 business owners that are like, I'm never doing that again, never taking anyone. And I never want to talk to them about money ever again, because they have this feeling like that was where the problems hit. And I know that is not your your mindset at all. Your mindset is very much about, hey, you're running this company. You need to know the numbers. You need to know how everything's working. Can you talk to us a little bit about your reporting and how you keep the people engaged by doing that?
Yeah, so we really focus on like being very transparent. So we'll focus on every week, what were our sales, other numbers as well, like how many staff do we have, what's our retention rate, how many quotes did we do. We do a weekly staff meeting with the entire office. Now we're Zooming both offices together.
On Monday?
On Monday.
How did I know that might be what's happening from 10 to 4?
Yep. And we just lay it out there, and everybody is working towards the same goal. So we set a bonus, revenue goal, and then if they're over that for the week, they get a bonus amount. So that's really, we've been doing that for 7 years. That's really kept everybody focused on growth. And then what we talk about is how do we, how many people called in sick, and making sure that they see the correlation between people quitting, people calling in sick, quality scores, and our revenue going up or down. And that goal is always moving, so we adjust it up. If we're hitting it every time, we adjust it up. But that's been really key to get everyone on the same page.
Yeah.
That could tie into a question that Robin has for us. He's talking about goals and what type of incentives do you provide for your managers?
Mm-hmm. The whole staff participates in this revenue goal, and everybody can see the numbers, and everybody can see the amounts that they're getting. So I just do it by a percentage. So say if I have 15%, say the profit's at 15%, and that's how much above goal I'm going to give away, I guess, as that bonus. The manager might get 5%. So I'm splitting it up: manager, sales, scheduler, QA, even the bookkeeper gets a certain percent. And so we just use up those percentages, and everybody sees what they're getting. That's how I do it. And then I personally don't tie all the money to making the sale. It's more about that holistic revenue, because that includes staffing, quality, everything drives that.
So when you say holistic revenue, you're talking about the bottom line, the profit?
Well, what I mean is I don't just do really big sales goals. I have everybody looking at that revenue collectively as the number to look at. I look at the profit, and I adjust the amount I give away for the bonus depending on our profit. So if we went through in a 10% profit, I would decrease the amount that we were doing across the board to 10%.
But the goal that you're setting, which kind of everybody's shooting for, is the top line revenue?
Yes. Yep.
And you're kind of showing the interrelations between each other, and that's important because, so yeah, mine are kind of siloed off between everyone has their thing, but I like how yours are all interconnected because everybody's goals do touch one another. Like if your hiring manager is not giving you enough people to do the jobs, right? You can't hit the revenue goals, so it hurts everybody. So then they're, even if they are siloed, though, it still makes everybody work together to kind of hit those. That's great.
And Sara, you said that you will modify the goals. Like if the profit goes down, you'll modify the goals. Do they know how that's happening, why, and where that connection comes in, so they understand that, whoa, this is why our profit's in the toilet here?
Yeah. So they can't watch everything. So I just figured that's my job to watch the profit number, but we're going to talk about it. If it goes from 15 to 5%, we're going to,
of course,
having a big meeting. We're talking about what's happening. And so, yeah, that just goes with our communication, and being really open. I'm very open about the costs of things. I'm open about what does our pricing need to be? If we've raised our hiring baseline, then what do we need to price at a minimum? And how much healthcare costs? We just talk about it all. So I'd let them know.
Do you think that plays into the idea that everybody works together and everybody knows this stuff? They're all working together, so they don't see Sara, the big boss, getting all the money, and we're just working like dogs, and we're being taken advantage of. Do you feel like that ties in there?
Yeah, I think so. I think just being very accessible. I mean, I'm only in the office a day a week, but somebody can Slack me. I'm always available to the office staff. So communication. I might be traveling somewhere, but I'm available to them. Yeah, I think so. That because we're all, we talk about. I don't know. You'd have to ask them, but my feeling is that we're just going towards the same goal, and everybody knows it, and everybody cares about each other. We're talking about money, but we're also talking about our core values and things like that. And I'm pretty laid back, so I don't think that I set myself up here and there's a big chasm.
Robbie Murphy shared a thought about taking people to, I guess, training opportunities and so forth. You've got, you worry about training them when they leave. I guess that's not as bad as not training them and they stay, huh?
Right. I mean, alternatively, what do? You have somebody who's not going to be excited about their job, or not going to be excited about you trusting them enough and having faith in them enough to bring them to something. I have no problem taking people. I don't like it when they quit, but that's just part of what I feel like we need to be doing. And then other people in the office can see us take somebody, and that person may quit, but they know that this is what we do. And we will train and promote from within. We will give people these opportunities. We send people to leadership classes locally. So they see that, and if I do something good for somebody and they take it somewhere else, that's okay, right?
But occasionally you do go to the outside when you have to, and your internal staff understands that.
Yeah, we do open it up for, and we want to be sensitive to that. So most positions we open up to our entire staff, and we'll say, here's a position, it's opening. If you're interested, here's how to apply, and then we submit it, and then we do an Indeed ad as well. So we will definitely talk to any staff person interested.
Okay.
And so you did talk about your core values. I have it up on a screen if we want to bring it up. Actually, a couple of things that you shared, but are these like business cards that go in their wallets, or is this posters, or how is this described to your team?
So it's part of our training manual. It's part of our onboarding. It's also part of it would be a poster. It's also part of our review. So every 6 months they're being reviewed with a rubric that includes, are they delivering client happiness first? Are they committed to growth and success? And we've kind of defined those out. So it should be pretty core. They're sitting down with a manager and talking about, has their communication been professional? Things like that. And we also tie that into any write-ups that we do. We use our core values as, when you spoke to somebody that way, that's not professional communication. And
I asked because this would be perfect in a wallet. If you ever go to Ritz-Carlton, you ask one of the employees and just ask them about it. Be like, hey, can you show me your core values card? Mm-hmm. They'll take it out and show it to you. They've got to carry it around with you. Yours looks like it would be perfectly designed to be, and those are all easy to remember. Are you familiar with that kind of Ritz-Carlton example? Have I ever told you that before?
I think so. I think you've heard of it. I don't remember their core values.
I've done it a couple of times when I've been at the Ritz for different events, and I'm sitting there talking to to the valet, and I'll be like, "Hey man, tell me about the core values." And they're like, "Oh, cool. Let me show you this." And they'll pull out their card. I think I know this is an idea that gets beat to death, but I think if you do build your business around repeatable values that you can hire and fire for, it's important. And I think making it as accessible as possible is something that we could all be better about. So I love that Ritz-Carlton example. I actually have mine on the back of their name badges. So we print out their plastic name badges, and then on the back side we actually have the 4 core values printed there. So not to talk about me, that just came to mind. Yours looks like it would be perfect for that. And then I also have your summer experience giveaway contest. I want to talk about the ways that you kind of engage your technicians, because this is pretty wild. This is a big, wild idea. Can you tell us about this?
Yeah. Well, picture how everyone was freaking out about hiring in April and May, especially April. And we had staff, hiring was an issue. It still is an issue, but my goal was to hold our staff as long as possible through the summer. And I'm intrigued by this idea of giving away something at a certain point in time. So we just tried this for the summer. It was 3 months, and we have our drawing next week. We'll do it live at a meeting in Ames, and then broadcast it live in the Ankeny office. So we're giving away 13 prizes. One technician will win a trip for 2 to either the beach or Nashville or Colorado. 2 people will win the more regional trip, and then 3 people will win a kind of a night out or a car detailing. And so down from there, we give away 13 prizes. We'll do 1 drawing from the office staff, and really everybody got like a golden ticket, I called it, when they had perfect attendance for the week.
Is that like Willy Wonka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then if they had perfect attendance for the entire month, they got an additional 5 tickets. So really their odds of winning, the more that they were at work, were increased. And of course they have to be employed by us to win. They have to be employed by us to use this prize. So
I would love for once you have the data on this, if it'd be okay to share with, I know we talk on the side a lot. If it'd be okay if I share with people how this impacted things, like, basically retention would probably be the number one thing that you're looking to have improved over a very hard retention period, right? We know that people were having tremendous turnover and things like that. So I would love to see your final numbers once you kind of run through the summer. So this is a bold move. I mean, this was expensive to put this on. Do you have a dollar amount on what you're investing in this?
It's going to depend a little bit on which direction, because I've given a lot of choice here also.
Sure.
I'm estimating 7,000.
Okay. All right. I would have thought more, but okay, cool.
We'll see.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I guess the trip to the beach isn't crazy nowadays.
Yeah. Sarah, what is the golden ticket? How does that work? What does that do?
Yeah, so they have to have perfect attendance for the week. And then if they have perfect attendance for the week, the scheduler tracks all that and gives them a golden ticket. They put their name on it, and then they put it in this big lock box. And then we have this gold drum. We're putting everything in. We'll do that thing and draw it out. So that's the golden ticket.
But I don't understand what the golden ticket does.
It's an entry into the raffle.
It's like a raffle ticket.
Yeah.
So
How is it different than the other ones?
It's just got a really nice name, and it's golden.
Oh. Okay, gotcha. All right. So it doesn't it's not like worth 5 tickets or anything like that. Okay, gotcha.
They get entries for different things though into this. So attendance was one. Anything else that they can get? Nope.
No, they
Keeping it simple.
They have to be they can't be in the danger zone for write-ups.
Okay.
So those people won't be able to get called on. And then the winner, the grand prize winner has to be full-time. So that's the one caveat. Any other part-time people can win any other prize except that big grand prize will go to a full-time technician.
Okay, cool.
All right.
They're excited. So that's, I mean, and they've worked through a long, hard summer, and they've had masks on like for a year and a half. And so
We didn't
even
even
if
have
it doesn't help for retention, even if it's just for morale.
For the summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys?
Let's see. I saw a couple of questions over here. Yeah.
Sarah, Mitchell would like to know about your admin office staff arrangement in each location.
Sure. I'll just say the home office has bookkeeper, marketing, and Daniel, the manager, who kind of covers both. And then each office has sales, scheduling, and QA as kind of the core office particular to each location.
Let's see. I think we also have Robin has a question on here too.
You'd like to know about the hiring process. Do you promote your hiring manager from within?
No, I mean, I would if I had the right person, but Daniel, Daniel's our hiring manager. So he's kind of like staff and hiring and processes for the company.
Yeah, he's doing all kinds of stuff. So he's like your project manager when you're implementing something.
Mm-hmm.
He's very detail oriented, very like process driven. Where was he at before? What was his background when you found him? Like outside of our industry for sure, right?
So he was at Panera for 7 or 10 years.
Okay.
And had worked his way up there.
So you basically stole from their bench. They developed him. He was ready to. So
Yeah.
that's always good. We should be looking for other companies to develop some talent for us, right?
Yeah, and in fact, and I hired him when I didn't have a spot for him. I thought I interviewed for a sales position, and I said, Daniel's not a sales guy, and he'll watch this and agree. But I wanted to hire him, so I said, how about I hire you as project manager? I don't know what that means, and then we'll figure it out. I knew my Ames office manager at the time was getting married and planned on moving, not sure when. I just knew that I didn't want to lose him. So.
But we all have projects in our businesses that need to get done. We need to implement new software. We need to, do processes and change things. And so he's really good at the change management side. So that's important though, especially at your size. So finding a fit there was great.
Sarah, I think that's really an important skill that CEOs of cleaning businesses need to be aware of. I call that being opportunistic. You're interviewing for a certain position, but if you stumble across somebody that's got talent that can fit into your vision, I mean, you have to know the economics and can you afford to do that and then build into it. But when it works, it can work out really well. And this is an example. So don't just get blinders on. It's like, well, no, I'm going to let that person go because they're not a salesperson. Keep your eyes open and be opportunistic.
Yeah. And we've also shifted people. We've had Kim, who's been in our company for 10 years. And I just decided this year that she's going to get a trip to Nashville for her 10-year anniversary. So I guess I've started that. I've established that now. But Kim was our salesperson and grew into a part-time position, into 3/4 time, into what ended up being full-time sales in Ames. And she was done with it after 7 years. She's like, no. And she actually wanted to leave. And I said, okay, yes, you can leave, but what do you want to do? And she wanted to do marketing, which she had gone to school for. And I said, well, why don't you find someone, like, why don't you ask your boss if you could do marketing? And so she hadn't thought of that. And I'm like, that's, you have too much knowledge to leave. So I gave over the marketing that I had been doing, and Kim does that now, and then backup sales. So we got creative with that because it was important to keep a good person. If they wanted to do something different, I wanted to give them a chance to do it.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So Sarah Mitchell again wants to know, did you start your locations with an admin, or did you start them as satellite locations? So I'm assuming, did you, start them without having a local leader?
Yeah. We did about 6 months where we're 35 miles from the 2 offices. So we did 6 months where we sent somebody to clean, just scheduled 1 or 2 technicians to clean. And I think we maybe had 20 clients at the most. And then we opened officially got an office located and had a manager hired and sitting there after that. So I said we lost money the first year. That's part of the reason.
Yeah.
I wanted a manager in place, like somebody who could look at people, somebody who could come in and talk to them about things. I wanted a home base for those technicians, and I wanted to hire in the town that we were cleaning in. So I put somebody in place pretty quickly.
Robin wants to know about, do you use smaller monthly contests for your cleaning pros to keep them engaged on quality and consistency?
Nothing out of the ordinary. We do a quality score bonus. So for us, if you score, what is it, 4.85 as a quality score or above, you get $100 a month. We do that. We do, some people call it made bucks. We do dirty dollars. So we're giving away dirty dollars for every 4 or 5-star that you get. So those are the 2 things that we do specifically. Once in a while, we'll do, post your before and after, and we'll draw out the best one, something like that. I'm not that creative. I'm not that fun, so I don't do a lot of contests.
That's a lot more than a lot of people do, though. It's more than I do.
Yes, this is true.
And you do it consistently. I think that's that's a big piece of it.
Yeah, I think it
makes a difference for people.
I think leadership definitely, like top to bottom. I think you set good expectations across your business, and I think from leaders down to the technicians, like you said, they know who they're going to talk to when they have a problem. They don't have for one thing, I think probably the way you have it set up is it's not as fractured like it is. There's direct lines of communication, and everybody knows who they're supposed to talk to. That's important as you kind of scale up. Even if people have multiple hats they have to wear, they know who they're reporting to and who they're responsible to.
The 4.85 quality score equating to the $100 bonus, you've got about 60 cleaning professionals. Have any idea roughly how many of them on average get that bonus each month?
Yeah, I'd say a third to a quarter.
Okay. But that motivates them every month. They're trying to do that.
It motivates them a little bit. It's debatable. We like to say, you're also rewarding the people that just inherently are going to get that score and do that great job, and there's nothing wrong with that either.
And then you get that really bad score at the beginning of the month, and you go, I'll never get it. Now, do they take it easy the rest of the month?
No, they go in and talk to their manager and they say, "Can you change the score?"
It was like, that's not fair.
That makes sense.
I did a good job. It's
that's Daniel's
the customer's
favorite.
crazy.
That's Daniel's favorite part when that happens.
The customer's crazy.
But I really do like that. This idea, I know it's not a motivating thing. I think that's kind of improved through research a lot, but I think it's better that you're rewarding those people for doing it. I think that's almost better than motivating them or incentivizing them in the front, because so many times that's a huge frustration for people is, I'm doing this amazing job, so and so's not, and we're basically getting paid the same, we're treated the same. So that nice built-in reward, that actually is not incentivizing, but it is very team building. It builds the loyalty for the company. So I like that.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of questions about teams or solos, and I guess two-part
She
question.
did tell us.
Solos. Did you ever consider doing teams, or have you been solos from the beginning?
I always consider doing teams, and we always haven't gotten to the point where we have to make that shift. I really admire or am very curious about the companies that can run some teams and some solos. I think until we really hit our head against a staffing shortage that we can't get over, or a hump, or some revenue stall out, I think we'll stick with solos because we can control the costs better.
Yeah, I always thought solos weren't going to be as big of companies, but over the last year, the three biggest companies that I've run into either run solos, predominantly solos, or like a mix of some team and solos, but they all have solos in the mix to be able to scale. So I think solos makes a lot of sense for a variety of reasons. It's just sometimes it's harder to find those quality staff members. So you've definitely built a good pipeline and good bench, good training program too to build solos up, because that's the hardest challenge people have is like, how do I hire somebody and get them out in the field and making money for me in a reasonable amount of time? And I think they miss that it can be done with solos. It's just you got to have a solid training process and stick to it.
And how many homes does a typical team of one do a day?
One really big home, and then they might go help someone else, or typically it's going to be a home in the morning, a home in the afternoon, or first and second home. And then we have everybody calling in between 2:30 and 3:30 saying, who needs help? And so we might go finish a job or throw solo on a deep clean that's going long, or somebody that needs help finishing up. So typically 2.
Do you have, Sarah, like a lot of people have different metrics for when they team people up, like a certain size job or a certain number of hours, or do you have something like that?
Yeah, if our houses are above 5 hours, we tend to try to put them in the morning and split that job and just write it as either ideally we'd write it as 2 separate jobs, like split the house up or split the job up, and each person does their thing, they're part of it, and then they go off to their afternoon job. Sometimes it doesn't work as smoothly, but that's the goal.
I do have a couple of questions here that I've written down too. Anybody else over here? No, we got all their questions answered. So one of the things that you said that was intriguing is you said that you brought so you had to lay off, I think you said 17 people, and then you had everybody back in 6 weeks. I know in my company, when I had people that were gone, it was because they were all parents and they couldn't come back because they all had kids. But I'm guessing your people didn't have kids. So who do you have working for you?
Right. In that it was a mix. We did deal with that a little bit. And so some of the people we brought back we brought them back part-time. We might have had one person decline because of childcare, or I think that there was one issue that way. A lot of our daycares did not close down.
Oh.
So we did not have daycares closed. We are in a very Republican state.
Yeah.
And so we didn't run into that as a huge.
So you didn't lose kid. Okay, I thought that you must be hiring different people. I was like,
No,
oh,
in
she's not hiring parents.
Yeah, in Ankeny, I will say we only have probably 3 out of the 20 full-time, 3 that have children. It's
Oh,
weird, but in Ames, it's a broader variety.
And are they younger or old? I'm guessing younger people just before they've hit that time of their lives.
I'd like to tell you my average age, but I don't know. We hire more younger, 22 to 24 probably is more of an average.
Okay. And then I was also wondering, because this is leadership we're talking about this month, when you're hiring your different managers and supervisors, etc., I'm guessing you have a certain list of leadership qualities that you're looking for. Do you mind sharing those?
Sure. I want somebody who is positive, who will take feedback from other people, not just from me. Somebody who really wants to make sure everybody else is okay, everybody else is comfortable, and be a team player. So less focused on, I mean, if we know them, we kind of know that coming into it, but those are the things that I'm looking for if I don't know them. I want them to be more of a we mentality than an I.
Okay. Do you have a way to check on that? No. Yeah. But that's what you're looking for. And you're looking for people from inside first. So you you already know that. Who are the people that instead of calling at 2:30 or 3 are like pushing it to the end at 3:40 so that they don't have to go help, those kinds of activities. Yeah. Well, we only have 1 minute left here, Sarah. I'm wondering if you have any last things that you think would be really helpful for our audience to know for either what you do or anything that you see companies doing that you're like, oh gosh, I wish they'd stop, or I wish they'd start, or
Maybe a pet peeve is when I see people not starting something because they don't have it 100% figured out, and I like to just start something and figure it out as I'm going. So I think that forward motion is really important. And then kind of coming back to it's all your, like, don't blame somebody else. Don't blame the hire. Somebody said, I can't hire anyone. Indeed is terrible. And I'm like, well, we can, and we're not magic. So there is a way to do it, and just push forward, and don't assume that you can't.
Persevere.
Yeah.
All right. That's great.
Well, we are at the top of the hour, and it is Wednesday afternoon. That means we're done for the week, doesn't it?
That's it. That's it for this week. We're back next week with more leadership. This was a really great call here, or whatever this is, a meeting here today. So what is this thing? What do we call these things? Meetings? Or
This is a live stream.
It's
a show. It's a
show.
It
an interview. I said I have this interview right now.
Yeah, it really was. It was a really good show today. They're not always this good, although Mondays was really good as well. So I don't know. It's been a great week. We're going to put it in the books. Yeah.
But, an hour goes by fast, doesn't it?
It's not bad.
Yeah. There, this was good stuff. And you got to do this more often. We'll have you back like every month, and we can do this.
All right.
Good luck, Tom.
Thank you.
Much appreciate. Truly. Let's see. Monday, Ken Carfagno is going to be here, and we're going to be talking about getting clear on the why.
Yeah.
It's going to be good. If you guys have ever seen Ken before, he's a dynamic speaker, and he'll keep things moving at a good clip.
You will. It'll be fun. Give you bring paper and pencil or something. Bring a remarkable. Bring something.
Yeah,
Right.
bring a pad. You'll need more than one
Yeah.
sheet for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys have a good rest of your week. We'll see you back here Monday, 5 o'clock Eastern. Take care. Thanks again, Sarah.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
y'all. Thanks, Sarah.